For those of you that I don't know, my name is Christian Cowan. I am the Center Director for Polaris MEP. We are an MEP Center. It stands for Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We're part of a national network. There's one MEP Center in every state, and our charter is to help small manufacturing, medium manufacturers grow inside state with whatever they need. I continue to go to visit companies and hear about the needs for workforce development and hiring. There's a big gap right now in terms of the programs and the needs for companies. So we've been talking, a few of us, in the past year or two. Boy, wouldn't it be great to get all the programs that are available, talk to manufacturers, figure out what your needs are, and try to tie all these together so at least you're all exposed to it. So the program for today, I'm going to do very little or no speaking, which is good for everyone. And we're going to have the training providers, the partners, all stand up and present their programs. Feel free to ask questions as they present. But they're also will encourage questions and conversations at the end, too. These are all programs intended to help manufacturing companies, not totally comprehensive. There's some other ones as well. But that is the format. It will go from presenter to presenter and kind of work it through. So any questions for them while they go, definitely feel free to inject in. I am always, I appreciate Michelle and Cindy. Thank you very much for this spot. I always appreciate being here. I don't think there's any company in the state that invests in training like TACO does, and they have built this specifically for training facilities for their employees and others. So thank you very much for the food, for the facilities. It's perfect for this venue, I think, for these people and what we're talking about here. So. So I will get out of your way and we'll introduce everyone. The first person is Julie O'Connell. And if any of you don't know about the program Real Jobs for Rhode Island, that is what's behind a lot of the programs that we're talking about today. And Julie will talk a bit about it now.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Julie O'Connell. I am a grant advisor for the Real Jobs Rhode Island program. This is a program that our director, Scott Jensen, brought over from, loosely based on the program that he managed and created in Maryland. That program was Earn Maryland. So he brought it here and we tweaked it to gauge towards success for Rhode Islanders. Rebuilding all things manufacturing and creating manufacturing jobs is obviously a top priority for the governor, because these types of jobs drive the economy for Rhode Island. We're helping every day by listening to businesses and manufacturers about what works for you every day. Rhode Island was and still will be tremendous at manufacturing things. A major reason our national defense depends on Rhode Island manufacturers is to make the military equipment that protects us here and abroad. For example, we have Greystone, an automotive supplier manufacturing many of the components that we drive that we use in our cars that we drive. Garland Pen, producing fine writing instruments. Outer Limits Powerboats builds the world's fastest V-bottom boats, traveling at 180 plus miles per hour. S.R. Blackington manufactures the Kentucky Derby trophies. Beacon Design by ChemArt manufactures the White House Christmas tree ornaments. And the list goes on and on. We live in a really small state. Come right on in. Excuse me. We live in a really small state that manufactures a great deal of really cool stuff. So here's where Real Jobs Rhode Island can come in to help and assist you with your training needs. Real Jobs Rhode Island is a demand-driven workforce and economic development initiative that strives for collaboration, flexibility, and above all, business-led. This program is designed to ensure that Rhode Island employers have the talent that you need to compete and grow while providing targeted education and skills training for Rhode Island workers. The goal of Real Jobs Rhode Island is to develop Real Jobs partnerships. These will convene industry employers, key stakeholders, and groups in partnership that build alliances to address all business workforce needs for today and for future pipeline development of the future. They collectively identify common skills and credentials required by the industry, design education and training programs to address the skills gap and support workers gaining these skills and competencies needed for good-paying, sustainable wages to support their families here in Rhode Island. Some partnerships are training current workers for more advanced positions within their companies, but most are focusing on training unemployed and underemployed Rhode Islanders for vacant positions currently available. While enrollment, job placements, and advancement outcomes are not always a guarantee, having employers at the table throughout this development process ensures that the training is geared towards the skills and knowledge that those employers are specifically looking for. The Department of Labor and Training's Real Jobs Rhode Island program has initiated the development of innovative workforce training partnerships in defense shipbuilding, marine composites, and Rhode Island Manufacturing Growth Collaborative, run by the Polaris Manufacturing Extension Partnership, among many others. Rhode Island is helping to develop our biggest asset, a skilled workforce here, to fill these manufacturing jobs and transform the state's economy. Training provides participants this very clear pathway to these type of manufacturing jobs that are available in your companies. Jobs that are stable, full-time jobs to help them achieve that middle class they strive for most Rhode Islanders that may not have that four-year degree. The Department of Labor and Training's Real Jobs program has initiated the development of innovative workforce training partnerships across many industries. We actually have 26 that are established today, and we actually rolled out a new solicitation a few months ago in the planning grant stage and now have been awarded through the implementation stage to execute those plans that they developed in the planning stage. So we actually have awarded an additional 10 partnerships that we will be developing over the next 3 years. So as you can see, we are on our way, and we welcome you to join any of our intermediaries in the manufacturing space to assist us in getting the talented people of Rhode Island into great manufacturing positions in your company. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. So we're very thankful for Julie because she pays for all the programs that we and we had in here I neglected to talk about there's a progression of training for sure that's needed in manufacturing, and Fallon from Davies is here to talk about the tremendous investment that's being put into Davies and the programs that are available and how it relates to manufacturing workforce development, and we're sitting here today. So,
Hi, I'm Fallon Masterson. Very happy to be here today because the last event that we were asked to participate in with Davies also paid great heed to the tradition of manufacturing in Rhode Island and where it used to be at the turn of the century and how strong it's going to be now. Now, of course, at that point, they said Rhode Island had a great history of vocational training in the, around the early 1900s, much like what you're doing at Davies now. Look at the work they used to do at the Sockanosset Boys Training School, making all that manufacturing equipment. Now, for those of you not from Rhode Island, you may be familiar with the ruins of the training school and how these, and therefore could appreciate the differences between where vocational training used to be and where it is now. Very significant, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we are doing at Davies and what we hope to do with the investment that we are currently receiving from the state. So at Davies, we enroll between 800 and 850 students from across the state of Rhode Island. We offer them a full academic curriculum. They have access to AP courses, and in conjunction with that, whereas other schools may have different electives that students can piece together ad hoc, we use all that extra time in a student's schedule to train them in a specific program of their choosing. We have 9 vocational programs, and 4 of those fall within the umbrella of advanced manufacturing. This may be what you have perhaps read about in the paper in regards to the investment from the state and from the governor of the $3.65 million that is going to be going to Davies specifically for those programs. So to tell you a little bit about what we do in those 4 programs, which are biomanufacturing, machine technology, pre-engineering, and electrical. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we partner with businesses and how perhaps some of you may be interested in the training that we're doing within those 4 areas. So more than 90% of our students graduate with industry credentials. We determine the credentials that they're going for both by input from our faculty and by making sure that each of those programs is supported by an advisory board of business members in the community, ensuring that the training that they are receiving is up to date and that when they go into the workforce that they're not on an obsolete curriculum that we arbitrarily decided 15 years ago. It's very important that the students that we're putting out are students that match well with current needs today. Biomanufacturing, those students sit for NOCTI assessment, they leave with their OSHA 10 certification, and they also leave with credits to CCRI. The Machine Technology Program is accredited by NIMS, the National Institute for Metalworking Skills. Students in machine technology leave with up to 7 industry certifications. Pre-engineering students, they acquire their IPC certifications in soldering tech, and they are able to participate in Electronic Systems Associate ESA certification. And the electrical program is aligned with the National Electric Code. They receive their OSHA, and through NCCER modules, they're able to apply for advanced standing in future apprenticeships. So, of course, electrical works a little bit different than the other 3. Our school to career office is what matches our students in those programs with employers. So for the first 3 years of our school, students alternate about 3 hours of the day in technical and the rest of the day in academics. Now by their senior year, they are in a full-on rotation, 1 week academics, 1 week technical. This allows us the opportunity to place our seniors in work-based learning opportunities. There are 2 different work-based learning opportunities that we offer for employers. There are internships. These are unpaid positions that are between 9 and 12 days and between 12 to 18 hours on alternating weeks. The reason that we limit our internships to that small window of days, 12 days, is we greatly prefer for there to be a truer investment between both student and company. We want to make sure that the student is fully invested, no one is taking advantage of. And our co-ops don't have that sort. Our co-ops are our paid positions, and they don't have that sort of limit. A student can stay in a co-op year-round. They're between 25 to 30 hours, alternating weeks, and hours vary based on the needs of the employer. So, for example, one employer may want a student there from 3 to 7. Another employer may need a student in the morning. So it does not have to strictly be during the school day. We make sure that we work with employers based on that. Students who go into co-op have work-based learning plans that define the skills he or she is expected to master and ensure that the experience is worthwhile. Employers evaluate students on a weekly basis. When you're in a more technical area, like machine shop, we make sure that the students are being evaluated each week on tasks like machine operations, machine setup, part inspection, machine maintenance, machine safety, and documentation. Aside from our students who are actually currently in the workspace, partners also work with us in a couple of other ways. We try to find partners who we can schedule site visitations with, both for students or for faculty, to make sure that our faculty are continuously exposed to what's happening in industry. And on a larger scale, this can also involve partners who work with us to sponsor equipment and training centers. We have a case of that in our automotive program where Exalta invested in the program, put equipment in there, and they actually use the Davies facility as their regional training facility. So it becomes a mixed-use space for the company as well. So I am a bit pinch hitting today for the department who does handle this, but I can try to answer any questions that you may have on school to career, and I will also be available afterwards. Thank you.
So Fallon, actually can I ask,
Yes.
so we continue to hear that pipeline is important to get into the manufacturing awareness standpoint, so Davies obviously plays a critical part. So if these companies are interested in sponsoring interns or any other programs, what's the best thing for them to do? How do we get in touch with someone?
You can speak with me afterwards. If not, if you go to the website, daviestech.org, you will find information on the School to Career Office and the number to contact within there. The best way is to speak with the representative from that office or talk to me afterwards, and I can give you everyone's information.
This might be too specific if you're not usually the one speaking.
Oh, no, let's give it a try.
What percent of the students, more or less, go on to work with the manufacturers who may intern or co-op?
Oh, to that level,
Are there, or is that something that you guys have experienced, or is it more of just general employment out of?
I can tell you that for student, I can give you not to a specific employer level, but I can tell you that students who do not go to college, who go straight into industry, in the last 5 years, that has been 10%. But for students who go into college and concurrently stay working in industry part-time, that's much higher. That's between 63 to 71%. So it depends a little bit if it's a student who's not interested in pursuing.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Fallon.
Thank you.
So Julie was here to talk about the Real Jobs program from DLT. Olivia is also here to talk about other incentive programs to make sure everyone's aware of what is available from the Department of Labor and Training. Olivia.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So I'm here to talk about two specific programs. One's called Work Immersion. It's through the Governor's Workforce Board. A lot of you might have already taken advantage of this program. We did some program changes over this past fiscal year. So this application actually just went live yesterday. So if you've taken, I see some of you smiling. If you took advantage of this program last year, I'm about to announce the program changes to you for this coming year. Most of it stayed the same. So the way it works is it's kind of like a try before you buy, or you can take advantage of it if you're going to be bringing on interns. So we have it for 3 different groups of individuals. We offer it for unemployed adults. We offer it for individuals who are in a career and technical education program. And we offer it for college students who are matriculating in any of the 11 colleges or universities in Rhode Island. One of the program changes that we did this year was that if the individual is a Rhode Island resident going to any college or university outside of Rhode Island, we will actually recognize that college or university. So that could be something that a lot of employers in the room or outside of this room will probably like that change. So the way the program works is it's a minimum amount of hours, up to 400 hours. We'll reimburse the employer 50% of the wages on the college and high school side. It's 50%. On the unemployed adult side, if you're paying the individual $9.60 to $12.36 an hour, then it's 35% reimbursement because it's living wage. If you pay them $12.37 an hour to $20 per hour, we'll reimburse you 50%. If you retain the unemployed adult for 12 weeks beyond the 400 hours, we give you an additional 25% of the 400 hours. So on the unemployed adult side, there's an incentive to try the individual, and then there's an incentive to retain them. We don't give that on the high school or the college side. Are there any questions on that?
Is there a cap?
$20.
No, in terms of
Oh, so you can have 10 of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got you. You can have 10 individuals throughout your fiscal year, throughout our fiscal year, and our fiscal year goes June to June. So it's a really good program. We do have guides for all of the 11 colleges and universities. So if you're having a problem identifying a career counselor to help you kind of fill out that they're matriculating, then we can identify that for you. And we also have guides for all the career and technical education programs. Last fiscal year, this was a paper application. This year, it's an online application. Did any of you take advantage of this program last year on the unemployed adult side? So one of the problems we had last year was you had to do a pre-employment service. We've eliminated that this year on the unemployed adult side. I know, I'm so excited because that was a huge problem. So online application, no pre-employment service, just straight employers should be able to fill this out. W-9, we'll need a new W-9 for everybody this year, one time only. Any questions on that? Okay, my card should be with everybody, but if not, I'm here after. I'm happy to help you guys out if you have any questions with that. Similar to the work immersion program, we have on-the-job training. This is a program through the Department of Labor and Training and also through our we have 2 different workforce investment boards. So depending on where your actual business resides, if you're in Providence or Cranston, you're going to go through our workforce investment board in Providence or Cranston. If you're anywhere outside Providence or Cranston, you're going to come through our Greater Rhode Island WIB. But basically, it's you hire, we train, you train, we pay. So say someone comes along for the position that you're hiring for, and I'm going to just use customer service as the position. They have most of the skills for it, but they're lacking in a certain area. So let's say they don't know Excel. And they're going to need to give up someone from your workforce to train them in that specific area. And that we're going to recognize that that individual is going to have to give up time from their work day to be training in that specific area. And maybe for manufacturers, a better example would be you have a CNC machinist that comes along, and they're going to know how to do most of the job, but they're going to have to learn how to use your machine. So you're going to be giving up someone from your workforce to train in that area. So we'll give you a contract specialist from our office to create a training plan, utilizing some of your training plan, hopefully. Once the contract is approved, then that new hire can start working, and we'll reimburse you anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 months of the new hire's wages. Typically, we will approve on if you're anywhere from 1 to 3 of these at any one time. Any questions about this program? Is anybody taking advantage of this program? Wow.
Does anyone see a need or an opportunity?
Oh, you have. I saw someone. You've taken advantage of it? Do you have any?
No.
Like it? Good? Bad?
Yeah.
And you have as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good program.
It is.
It's for longer training. Like I would say work immersion's a good program if you've kind of like not sure, maybe it's a longer term unemployed, or if you have a college internship, that's a really good program. This program I think is better if you're going to do longer training and you want to get more reimbursement back. Business Workforce Center or my team we're here for you to kind of assist you if you're not sure which program to use, or you're interviewing an individual and you want to kind of like bounce off which program you think would be best to assist you. We can help you out with that. On both programs, this program takes about a week from start to finish for the contract to be approved. So if you have an immediate need, this program's probably not going to be able to turn around except for about a week. And on the work immersion side, we can probably turn that around in a couple days. So that one's probably, if you have an immediate need, that would be the program. Any questions? Great.
These are 2 great programs that are funded by the taxes that your companies pay anyway. So you're already paying into these funds. So and there are too many people that don't know about them. Definitely leverage them. Try to and I'm sure everybody in the room has got the ability to take advantage of them.
Yes,
so.
As long as you're registered with Secretary of State, which hopefully all of you are, these programs are available to you.
And Olivia's a great resource, everybody in the state.
What if it's a promotional opportunity? So it's not really a new hire, but you're going into a position.
So if it's a completely new position, so in your company, we do a case-to-case scenario on the job training. Work immersion, they would have to have so on the unemployed adult side, they have to have no wages 6 weeks prior to coming to you. we look at cash assistance as an acceptable wage, a military stipend, or unemployment is an acceptable wage. We also are looking at underemployed too. So say someone really needed to support their family and they decided to maybe bartend, and they have those wages coming in, and you're offering them a position doing something that's going to really sustain a sustainable wage. We probably would overlook those wages and allow work immersion to be used. On-the-job training, they have to be new hire, and they can't be working for the company, so this would not work.
But apprenticeship might so ask.
Yeah. If you have an individual that's working for your company though, and you want to maybe train them up, there is a grant through our office, the Incumbent Worker Training Grant, that you could potentially use to train up, skill up. You're welcome. Anything else? Well, I'm here after if anybody has any other questions. Thank you.
So next up is a fantastic program from my point of view, and Margot from the Steelyard.
Hello, how are you guys? My name is Margot Karoff-Hunger. I'm the Steelyard's workforce coordinator. The Steelyard is an industrial arts nonprofit in Providence. Before I start, I want to thank Polaris for bringing us to the table and Tico for having us all here, so thank you. First, as an overview, the Steelyard is an industrial arts nonprofit. Job training is just a very small part of what we do there. We work in the industrial arts. We do welding, blacksmithing, ceramics, jewelry making, and iron casting. And within those practices, we have classes open to the public, so if you guys want to learn any of that, come on by. We're an event site. We have our own events, and we host other people's events. We have an artist residency program. We do special programming, youth programming, and a public projects department that makes commissioned public functional art for the communities. Well to Work, our job training program, began in 2008 as a response to an issue that we were having that probably is the reason why a lot of you guys are here today. We needed qualified and quality workers to complete a public project for us in 2008. And that first iteration of the program, it really began really organically and naturally. We paid a handful of local residents to come and learn the skills necessary to complete the project at hand. And since then, Well to Work has really grown and taken off from then. It has changed significantly, but it still holds a lot of those same basic concepts as it did in that first program. So we still pay Rhode Islanders to come and learn the skills necessary to gain and maintain meaningful employment. And simultaneously, we're supporting Rhode Island's manufacturing needs. Well to Work is currently offered 2 seasons a year, and during each season we can train up to 32 participants in a series of programs. Participants are 18 years old or older and fall and meet certain income guidelines. These restrictions are in place so the program meets its goals and its philosophies, which is to connect underserved and underemployed Rhode Islanders to all the jobs that are available here in Rhode Island. Notice how I didn't just say welding jobs. We keep this program fairly varied, and that is on purpose for 2 reasons, and we come at it from 2 angles. First, I think it's clear from everyone who's representing their companies here today, Rhode Island's manufacturing economy has really diverse skilled labor needs. We don't all make the same thing, so everyone's needs are very specific and individualized. And additionally, Well to Workers, people who apply into the Well to Work program, come from backgrounds with very little opportunities available to them, especially when it comes to technical and artistic education. So participants who come into our program don't even necessarily know what welding is, never mind whether or not they want to do it for the rest of their lives. So this is some of the reasons why we keep Well to Work very heavy on the transferable skills side of things. We teach things that are really applicable to any career, especially careers that are represented here today. So a little bit more about the format of Well to Work, the curriculum, and the results that we've seen over the past 9 years. Well to Work is offered in 2 versions currently. We have a 30-hour version and a 120-hour version. The 30-hour version is offered in 1 week, Monday through Friday, 30 hours, you're done. And the second version is offered over 4 weeks, same hours, 30 hours a week. The 30-hour version, participants are taught foundational MIG welding and fabrication skills. And they don't just sit there and weld and grind and cut and bend things just because. They are working on real commissioned public projects through our public projects department. So they're learning on the job in essence for us. Successful graduates of that 30-hour 1-week program are welcome to apply into our Well to Work 2.0 program, which is that 120-hour program. In that program, they build upon the skills that they've learned in the 30-hour program. So they're introduced to TIG welding, to stick welding. They go on tours of local industrial facilities, such as your own. They receive an OSHA 10 safety certificate, and they receive a formal soft skills training at the Genesis Center in Providence. While both versions of the program focus on welding and fabrication skills, there is a strong emphasis on the soft skills necessary to gain and maintain meaningful employment. So this means we emphasize showing up on time, accountability, communication skills, teamwork, following directions, professionalism, and safety within a manufacturing environment. In essence, Well to Work aims at molding motivated, smart, and hardworking individuals into employees that are trainable. Entry-level employees who are worth your time and your effort and your money in giving them the specific skills that your jobs need. And we've been proving the results of this on our own ever since the program began. For example, of the last 2.0 cohort that we just graduated, we've hired back 4 of the 7 crew as artists and fabricators in our public projects department and as teaching assistants in our open enrollment courses. So we're really creating groups of people who are employable, who we want to employ, and who we do employ as much as we can. It's a unique program. It's a really unique space. If none of you have been there before, I invite you all to give me a call and come on by, take a tour of the Steelyard, meet participants who are in there now. Applications are open for the fall 2017 programs. So that's going to close on Friday. If you know anyone who might qualify or be interested to apply, I'd be happy to speak with you or them about that. In the meantime, if you want to come on down and take a tour, you are more than welcome to do so. So thank you.
I find this fantastic, and you kept stressing Rhode Island for obvious reasons. Is this open only to Rhode Island residents?
As of now, based on our funding, yes. So we have accepted in the past other residents or from other places, but generally speaking, we work very, very locally. We create products for local communities, and we really do reach out to our community. So many residents are from Olneyville, which is where the Steelyard is located. But we really kind of anyone in Rhode Island at this point.
Because of our Fall River facility, we employ about 50 welders.
Okay.
And some of the folks are nearing retirement age, and so it's a failing art, so to speak, and we would always be looking for the pipeline of welders.
Yeah, I mean, transportation is always an interesting topic for the demographic that we target, but if there were sort of ways, and we could negotiate ways to get people from us to you, we're very flexible in sort of making systems work, and finding ways to make things work.
Yeah, we can, if it's a matter of supporting PICO some way, we can have those conversations with DLT to see what.
Case by case basis,
absolutely.
I was just gonna say that I've been out. I myself and DLT were out there. I was invited, and if any of you want to see something that's amazing, you need to take a tour of the Steelyard.
I did the weekend welding class and it was amazing. Yeah, it was really cool.
Actually, I learned how to weld first when I was 15 at the Steelyard, so I've sort of grown up there. It's been many years there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and do it.
It's not just steel. It's like a family. It's an environment.
It is a family. I found myself. We keep our classes very small. There's no more than 8 participants per class, and it really helps me emphasize and ensure that people are successful within our program. If someone is not 10 minutes early, I'm calling their mom a lot of times, just to ask how their kid is. So it's a very small community, and we really do ensure that all participants who get into the program are successful on the other end, and we do that in a supportive, small family way.
Lots of wraparound services.
Yes, plenty of that too.
And there's the message that Margot gave over and over. I just want to emphasize it's not just welding, right? It's a lot of those soft skills, and a lot of the candidates coming out of the cohorts go into do other things, other training programs.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a good first step. The people that we're targeting for these programs may not be successful in other training programs if they just went into a more intensive, longer training program. A lot of people need that first step, which is well to work, and then from there they can go on and sort of create their own pathways. And I help them think about what those pathways might be, what they're interested in, qualified for, whatever it may be. So if you run your own training program and you're looking for candidates who will be able to make it through your training program, call me. If you have entry level or positions in your company and you're looking for people who you want to pour money into at the time, who you know will stick with your company, we also, I know, handfuls of people who might be great for you.
Good question.
Sure. So maybe I missed it. So is this all scholarship, all state funding, or are students paying? Is it company sponsored?
So
intern?
In the past, we have privately fundraised for every single program that we run, job training wise, and it's a free program, and we pay participants to come and participate in the program. So everyone receives a stipend at the end. We've recently received like Polaris and Real Jobs money, so that is where the funding comes through.
Margo, how many cities are involved in these public projects?
I mean, there are public projects, I think, in every city in Rhode Island, at the very least, and in Massachusetts parts of. So we're really starting to expand. If you know what to look for, you'll see them a little bit more often. If you feel like looking like a crazy person, you go examine a cool-looking trash can, like on the street. It could be us. So we don't make just simple trash cans or simple things. It's really just functional public art. So a fence that could be boring, we make it look good. A trash can that could just be a trash can, it's a design trash can that could have to do with the company who purchased it to put it outside of their building, or it could represent the neighborhood that it's in, so it really sort of varies. But there are tons and tons of projects out in the community.
So Margot will be here afterwards as well. I am always completely humbled when I go to graduations at the work that Margot does at the Steelyard, so I strongly encourage people to visit and talk to Margot afterwards. So
yeah, absolutely. We have a graduation on Friday if you all want to come. It'll be fun. There's pizza.
So we're that initial image of kind of circles progressing up, kind of getting more and more kind of skilled training programs, and Barbara Jackson's here to talk about a few things.
So I'm Barbara Jackson from We Make Rhode Island, and not everybody here knows what We Make Rhode Island is, but that's because we changed our name. I'm hoping that's why you don't know who we are. We used to be called RIMI, which was the Rhode Island Manufacturing Institute, and we don't like that name. So now we're calling us We Make Rhode Island because that's what we do, and our question for everybody is, what do you do when we go to the high schools and we talk to the students there? So we are the training arm of the Rhode Island Manufacturing Association. We work very closely with the employers, as I think everybody in this room does, to find out what employers want when we pull our programs together. And our flagship program that we're going to talk about today is called I Am Manufacturing 2.0. How is it different than I Am Manufacturing 1.0? Is that the good news is we've shortened it a little bit, we've compressed it, and we also are lucky enough to receive from Real Jobs a ability to pay our students an incentive to be on time. So just like in Margot's program, we have a time clock. You have to punch in, you have to punch out when you leave. It's part of what we are doing to make sure that people are really ready to go to work. But even though that meant that maybe they would get in trouble, that wasn't a really good incentive for some of the really hardcore folks whose habits we needed to change. So we were fortunate enough this go round with Real Jobs to be able to offer an incentive. So now, if you punch in late, you don't get paid for the entire day. So it's a real incentive. It's not like you lose a little bit. And the incentive isn't so huge anyway. So the first, it's a three level training program. you get $10 a day for the first level, and you get $15 a day for the next 2 levels if you stay that long. So taking away a whole day is a pretty big chunk of what you would earn for that week for being on time. And I would say that what it has done is it caused people to make their decision about whether they want to stay more quickly. So we've kind of washed people out in the first week and a half rather than waiting for 3 weeks. So that's been very helpful. It's also been helpful to cause people who maybe used to think about, oh, that first 5 minutes, who really cares? Well, now they understand why it matters. So we have found that our on-time performance rate has gone up. So that's a good outcome to have, because you want them at your job site early. So now they understand the connection between they don't get paid if they're not there on time. And they're asked to leave if they are too late too often, or if they have too many absences, we ask them to leave anyway. So you never get to see them, actually. So I want to talk about what we do. In IM Manufacturing, it's an entry-level program at 3 different levels in organizations. So the red level of training is a 3-week program. It's 5 days a week. It's 9:30 to 3. And what we teach people are soft skills, basic math, shop math 1, I am job ready, which is employability skills, and some shop safety. And that's pretty much what we do in the first 3 weeks. We will probably lose about a quarter of the class. 20% of the class will choose not to go on, or we'll have to ask them to leave. Now, one of the things that we do is if someone is in the sort of situation where they just need a job because they have to pay the rent, what we say to them is, you can leave after red, and you can come back to the training after you get your life sort of straightened out if we still have a grant. So we do have some people who, in this next cohort that we're beginning in 2 weeks, are coming. We have one student who's returning from having left. He kind of got his life resituated and is able to now focus on improving his career. So red is entry-level training. It might be assembly, it might be picking, packing, it might be warehousing, it might be, we have a medical device company that is a packaging for medical devices in a sterile environment. So it's those kinds of jobs. It's not something that's going to be a supervisor. It's not a position where you need a whole lot of expertise, because you just sort of have the basics. If you stay with us through yellow, what happens in yellow is you're going to get OSHA 10, you're going to get Shop Math 2, you're going to get Shop Trig, you're going to get geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, you're going to get blueprint reading, you're going to get precision measurement, and you're going to be able to have enough training that you can sit and pass the Manufacturing Skills Standards Council test for precision measurement and quality. So we do a lot of quality, we do a lot of lean training also in level 2. That's a 7-week program. Again, it's 5 days a week. The types of jobs that our students that graduate from the yellow level or phase 2 are going to be qualified for, again, they're more entry-level jobs, but they're at a higher requirement of competency. So they're going to be quality inspectors, not the supervisor, but basic quality inspectors. They might be the types of machinists that are working for companies where they're not CNC machinists, but they're taking the product that's coming off the machine and they're doing what you need to do when that happens. And a lot of you have. How many people in here have hired a graduate from this program? Well, I can just assure you there are 86 more. But the type. What did you hire you hired somebody to do a very different type of program.
And I'm trying to remember the details, but
She started as an inspector in your quality department and now has a higher level job. And she came out of our CNC. She started actually at Davies, went to work for Blount for a while, and then came back to school to learn to be a machinist and came to work for you guys. If you stay on for our blue level, this started as CNC, basic CNC training, so we teach programming, we teach setup, we teach what you need to do to step up to a machine, turn it on, and do more than just push the button. However, what we've learned is that not everybody needs CNC machinists. So this year what we're able to do is to use the blue level as a specialty area. So if you have a position that's open in your company that doesn't require machining but requires additional training beyond the yellow, we can customize that component to meet your needs. So that's what we do in level 3. It's another 7 weeks where we can train someone and give them to you more fully formed. Now, some employers realize that their needs for hiring are such that they don't want to wait until we complete our cohort. They need to get in early because they need somebody now. Because if you wait until the end, you're not getting the best person. Obviously, they're sort of snapped up. So what we do is we invite employers to come in, talk to our class, bring some product if you can. If it's too big to bring some pictures, but talk to us about your company. Make a pitch. We will match up. We have a job developer and our head of workforce development is in the back. We'll make sure that you get connected with the right student. But do it early. Don't wait until the end. And frequently what happens is you might bring them on board for a second shift position while they're in school with us. That way it's kind of like a try before you buy. We might be able to throw some funding your way through one of the programs that we previously talked about. That way you make sure it's the right fit and you get the best possible employee before they're kind of picked over, although all of our students are wonderful, right? But that usually happens, I would say, to 50% of the students. And that way if you decide that you really want to have us specialize in a particular thing for you, a particular area of focus, we can do that. Because you'll be able to figure out where this particular employee is going to go within your company, and we can sort of steer the training in the right direction. We have been blessed with enough training money from Real Jobs for 84 candidates who are 18 years or older. We've also been fortunate enough through the Real Jobs for Youth, is that the right name? Real Jobs for Youth program to have money for some high school students who graduated high school this June who came directly to us. So we have 12 of them who will graduate from our first 2 levels. We didn't give them the blue level because they need a little real world experience first. But they are graduating on the Thursday before Labor Day. So they're incredible. The wonderful thing about these high school kids is they don't have any habits. So anything that they've learned has been through us. So it's not, we didn't have to unlearn stuff. We just gave them all new stuff. And they're like sponges. So for our grown-ups, when Kelly's telling them, okay, here's when you interview, because we videotape the interview so they can see their own body language and see what you guys see. We interview them, and they're like, well, I'm not going to change because it's been working for me for 40 years. Well, not so much, because you wouldn't be in this program if you know how to get a job, right? So the high school kids, we say to them, okay, you walk up, you shake their hand, you do this, you do that. This is what you say, and it's like, I said it out of my mouth, and it comes out of there. It's exactly what we tell them to do, because they don't have an opinion of what not to do. It's really been it's been a breath of fresh air. Whenever we need a little inspiration, we go into the classroom where they are, because they're thrilled to be there. They're on time every day. They're enthusiastic about what their future is going to be, and there's no pushback. We haven't even had to tell them to pull their pants up, which is a miracle in today's world. So we're thrilled about these high school kids, and we have, I don't know, after they're done touring your place, I think there's only going to be about 6 left, because you're going to grab 2 of them. And
we have Colleen coming in.
Colleen's coming in. We have 2 sort of, we're thinking you might take one of them. So we don't have very many of these fellas left. So if you want a younger person, please see Kelly after this, and we'll hook you up, as they say. So that's what I Am Manufacturing 2.0 is all about, but I want to also explain, because it leads into the next thing we're going to talk about. If you graduate from 2.0, you are a pre-apprentice. So pre-apprentice specifically means that you have enough credits to get that accolade, but it also means that if you want to do apprenticeship and your employer wants to do apprenticeship, probably about 2/3 of it is already paid for and completed. So that makes the apprenticeship part that they'll be spending with you quicker and less expensive. So you want to be looking for a pre-apprentice whenever you can find somebody that's got that sticker on them. And I know we're going to talk about that later on. But that's all I have to say about entry level. Are there any questions? Good. So we're going to talk about apprenticeship now. So the first thing I need to say about apprenticeship is apprenticeship has nothing to do with unions. It's training with benefits. So what's really cool about apprenticeship in the current way it's configured is you can apprentice anybody as long as it's structured training. So it's different than on-the-job training. On-the-job training is terrific, but it's not structured, it's not repeatable, and it doesn't come with a certificate at the end of it that you could take to another state that would be recognized. So it's structured training that we have to register with the Department of Labor in Washington. So if an employee who has become an apprentice here in Rhode Island moves, other locations understand what that means. And similarly, if an apprentice from California comes to Rhode Island, you can look up and see what that person has been designated as a journeyman in. So it's structured, but it's tailored. It's customizable structure. So you can come to us and we will customize an apprentice program for one person within the way we have to sort of stand sideways to make this happen with the Department of Labor. We can, not your Department of Labor, the Federal Department of Labor. We can make this work for you. The benefits are, first of all, particularly for millennials, they'll stick around. So that's huge because millennials don't like to stick anywhere. So they'll stick around at least until it's done. So you probably will keep them a whole lot longer because if you can kind of have them for 2 to 3 years, you probably will keep them for a while. You would just have to get over that 24-month hump that everybody's experiencing where people then just get up and walk away. So you have some longevity. You have some offsetting cost reduction that we're going to talk about. So there's remuneration that can come to you to reduce the cost of training. And you have employees that actually are qualified to do stuff, which is an amazing concept. So the benefits to the employee, why they want to play in this game, is they get college credits. So if you come through our apprentice program, you'll end up with 32 recommended college credits, which is almost an associate's degree. So what is a recommended college credit? It's a college credit that you can take the form that we give you, your transcript. You go to a college that accepts recommended credits, which is a national thing, and you go to, say, Bridgewater State, and they will give you 32 credits on a Bridgewater State transcript that you can transfer to URI, or you can transfer to anybody that accepts Bridgewater State credits. So 32 of those is a big deal because it's all of the electives for engineering at URI. They're fulfilled. So the only thing that either the employer or the student would then have to focus on is the non-electives because everything else is taken care of, right? So 32 is a big number. You get 20 of them from the Department of Labor in Washington and you get 12 of them from us. So that's a huge help. It's like half your college paid for in one fell swoop. So that's the benefit to the employee. Plus they'll have a card that's like a college diploma for trades that they can take anywhere they need to go, and people can look up and see what they've learned. So it's structured training with benefits. What used to be true, and it's no longer true, is that apprentices were the entry-level, low-level, low-skill jobs. That is not the case anymore. So we can apprentice in this new apprentice program and grant that the state received. We can apprentice any job, including mid-level and even high-level occupations, as long as it's structured and as long as there's a career path. So, for example, we're working with a manufacturer in East Providence who wants to do shift supervisors. That's cool. So we can apprentice the shift supervisor. So you start as a shift supervisor 1, and there's a shift supervisor 2. In this particular manufacturing plant, there's even a shift supervisor 3. So there's a career path there. We could apprentice shift supervisor 1, maybe even shift supervisor 2. So to your point, what do you do with an incumbent worker? Well, if they're just sort of going from this desk to that desk, I don't think we can apprentice that. But if the job change included something that was along a career pathway, absolutely we can apprentice that. Some apprentices are short in terms of how long does it take you to gain the skills necessary. Some are much longer. A CNC apprenticeship is 4 years. A tool and die maker apprenticeship is 5 years. So it depends. But what's really cool about the apprenticeship grant that Rhode Island won is that it's not, it's what we call a hybrid program. Who cares what it's not? It's what we call a hybrid program. So a hybrid program is time and trade plus proficiency. You need both, but proficiency is the most important. So when we work with you to decide what your structured program is, you say to us at the end, this is what the human being in this occupation needs to know how to do. If somebody walks in off the street and already knows how to do that, we can test them and we can test them out. Why do you care about that? Veterans. So if I'm a vet, so one of the things that we get asked for frequently is mechanics. Do you have any machine mechanics? Everybody's looking for machine mechanics. Thank you. So where do we find them? Well, we find them at the Air Guard. They've got a batch of them over there. So we can give them examinations to prove that they're proficient in a lot of that stuff. So we don't have to take their time to learn basic mechanics 101 all over again because they already know how to do that. So they get credit for it. We just give them a test. We give them a badge. You don't have to pay for it because they're already proficient at it. Now, we do have this little problem that we're working on with the apprentice department of the on-the-job learning hours. Because there's two components to apprenticeship. There's the classroom part, the number of hours that you have to do to train, but there's also the on-the-job learning part, which in many ways is the demonstration that you learn something in the classroom. So right now, for every year that your trade says is required for an apprenticeship to be completed. So I said CNC machinists have 4 years. So it's 4 years times 144 classroom hours and 4 years times 2,000 on-the-job learning hours. But what we're doing is, because we're a hybrid program, we're getting permission to roll back the on-the-job learning hours as well. We don't have that in hand yet, but we believe that we're going to be fortunate enough to get that. So you will have somebody who comes out of the Air Guard and can kind of step up in a short period of time and be designated as proficient in certain kinds of things, because we certainly don't want to keep people in training longer than we need to keep them in training. So my pitch back to you is, under this grant that Rhode Island received, we have to do 197 manufacturing apprentices by the year 2020. We just have to get them registered. So we've tried to make this as easy as we possibly can. We'll apprentice anything that has a real career path to it. We'll create a structured training program with you to get this done. We have, can we go on to the next slide, because I can't remember this. We have another one. One more. So we have some incentives to make this easier. The Governor's Workforce Board will give you $1,000. They'll just write you a check for the first 5 apprentices every year that you do. On top of that, we, as in We Make Rhode Island, will pay the $250 on your behalf to get these people registered in all the places we have to register them with. If you are a C Corp, the state will give you tax credit of $4,800 a year for your apprentice. I don't believe there's a limit on that, but who knows, because nobody's ever taken advantage of this. 0 companies in Rhode Island have taken advantage of this. I think it's because, first of all, nobody knows about it, and secondly, we only have 2 apprentices in manufacturing, and neither one of them work for C Corps. So sign up. We've got to do 198 of them. We need your help to get that done, and there's lots of help out there to get this paid for. You may be able to use, we don't know yet because we don't have any apprentices, incumbent worker training to help you pay for it, but we've made this as inexpensive as we possibly can. So what we charge to train the apprentices is $1,000 a year. It's like a gym subscription. Tuesday, Thursday nights, people come, they have to do 144 hours a year. We're going to tell you if they don't show up, but it's $1,000 even if they don't come. We're going to pay the last $500 of that for you. So you pay the first $500, we'll pay the last $500. We're going to send roaming supervisors. So part of the deal, part of what makes an apprenticeship a pain in the neck is all the paperwork that has to happen. So we're going to be their sponsors, so you don't have to have any of the paperwork on your shoulders. We're going to do that, so we have to come out and talk anyway. Well, we'll send roaming supervisors. So if you hire someone out of IM Manufacturing 2.0, they're a pre-apprentice, we send them to you, you put them to work in whatever occupation it is, slide them into the apprentice program. We're going to send somebody on day one to make sure that they showed up, to make sure that they put their lunch in the right place, make sure that they did whatever it is that you need them to do. We'll set up a schedule with you so that you're not feeling like we're too intrusive, or that if there's sort of a privacy issue, we'll meet you at wherever location we need to meet you because we don't want to intrude on secrets. So we'll make this as easy as we possibly can so that we can get the information that we need about, are they proficient on the job? Are they doing what we all agreed that they need to do to demonstrate the learning? And we'll do it in a way that you don't have to do the paperwork. That's our responsibility. And they need a little help with their soft skills. Okay, we'll come in and take them to lunch and smack them around a little bit and put them back to work. You shouldn't have to worry about that. We want you to have the benefit of well-trained employees. So that's what roaming supervisors are for. There were some tax credits in the budget that just got signed. They're not in there now. We're hoping that they're coming back in September, and those would help you to pay for your side of the equation. So for sure, even though we're making this as inexpensive as we possibly can, you have to take someone offline to supervise. So that's what those tax credits are for. Okay. Who can take advantage of this? Everybody can take advantage of this. There is not one occupation I can think of that we can't apprentice. So please, if you are making a hiring decision and you're not thinking about apprentice, you're letting a lot of money sit on the table. So anytime you're hiring, no matter what level within your organization, talk to us, because let's suppose you're promoting somebody and we can't apprentice that person, the person that you're backfilling, we can apprentice that person. So please, we've got to do 197 of them anyway. We've got all this money to spend that goes to you, so please take advantage of it, and let's get these people trained and back to work. Any questions? Apprenticeship is like sort of Catholic theocracy or something. It can make your head split open. There's all these rules, but you don't have to know any of them. We struggle with them in our office all the time. So that's our job. It's not your job. Your job is just to take advantage of the workers that come to you and get them trained specifically for your company. Are there questions about this? Excellent. I'm sorry. I have to do the other things that are in the package. So why is she standing here wearing this thing around her neck, you might ask? Because I don't usually wear my gold medal. In the package that says We Make Rhode Island, there's a couple of things I'd like to draw your attention to. One of them is Manufacturing Day, and one of them is Engineering Olympics. This is all about Engineering Olympics. So every year, We Make Rhode Island invites every high school to come and compete. Torrey has, for the last 2 years, given us their wellness center. So we're going to Cripe Street in North Kingstown on November 18th. We will have a lot of high schools there. They put together teams. The teams compete for cash prizes and gold medals. We will have 8 challenges this year, so we're looking for 8 companies who would like to help us create the challenge and judge the challenge. So what is a challenge? Last year, the big challenge was there is a product. I live in an old house, so this is close to my heart. There's this thing called ice melt, and you throw it up on your roof, and you don't get ice dam if you get it in the right place. But you have to be able to throw it up on the roof. So the kids, we plopped a bucket of this ice melt stuff down in the middle of the floor. It's about the size of a hockey puck, except it's made out of calcium chloride. They had to invent a trebuchet to fling it up to get it in the gutter, and we gave them 2 different heights of gutters that they had to get it into. The package that they created had to be folded up so that it could go on a shelf at Home Depot. They had to do that with the stuff that we gave them to do it with, and then they had to come in and pitch it in the Shark Tank. It was amazing. So that's the kind of challenges that we do. The year before we had Amazon is coming to Fall River, so they want to deliver things by drones. Here's 4 eggs and a bunch of packaging material. Make something that we can drop from 20 feet and it won't break the 4 eggs. So it's those kinds of challenges that are engineering related. This year we're also going to have like a D College Bowl kind of trivia thing. So we're looking for 8 companies to help sponsor those challenges and help us invent them, and then be there with us this Saturday for all day to work with kids. And if you don't want to be there all day, we'll kind of figure that part out, because that's a lot to ask on a Saturday. But I do need companies. So that's one thing. That's why I'm wearing this, to remind me. The other thing is Manufacturing Day, which is a whole week, but it's also the 3rd. So we need people to sign up for tours, because we'll be putting students in buses, driving them to manufacturers. On the buses, there'll be a packet that students will have a hands-on challenge that they can use what they saw to complete. We're going to have a Ask a Manufacturer, so there's going to be like a call-in show where people can ask the manufacturers questions, and we need your help. So again, there's a piece of paper in there, and if you would call us, we would truly appreciate it, because we need manufacturers.
Thanks, Barbara. So continuing on that circle, we talked about unemployed people and then training people up from a skill set standpoint, fill up positions. Lindsay's going to talk about kind of skilling up your current workforce. Right?
Hello, everybody. I'm Lindsay Brigall. I'm with the Phoenix Partnership, which is actually a group that is specifically formed to be a real jobs program developer and implementer. And we work with 2 training partners. We work with New England Tech and also with Polaris on a new project. And this is all incumbent worker training that is employer-driven and demand-driven, in essence. The curriculums were developed to create skilled workers or upskill workers in the manufacturing industry and get them lean and critical skills for manufacturing employees. We are in our 4th cohort of what is the Manufacturing Essentials series. And just to give you an idea of the kind of classes we run for that, Intro to Lean, Safety Practices and Procedures, 5S, Quality, Standard Operating Procedure and Productivity. That program has gotten, the feedback from those programs have been incredible from employers. And basically, you choose the employees you want to send to the program. We can run 20 through at a time, and they go through. The employers came together and talked about what the needs were. And this is a diverse group of employers, and we're always welcoming new partners. But kind of looking at the what you need in your workforce, or what you need your current workforce to have in their toolbox to move forward, to be really great at their job, and to possibly move up in their careers. We provide, this partnership is fully funded in terms of the training is completely free. Real Jobs Rhode Island takes care of that. There's a 50% wage reimbursement for the training hours. We provide child care and mileage reimbursement to the employees, and each of the participants gets college credits from New England Tech and an OSHA 10 card for the Manufacturing Essentials Series class. Building on that Manufacturing Essentials Series, we then developed the Manufacturing Developmental Series, which is like the level 200 group of classes. The first cohort of that is currently running. So far, so good. That has classes like Frameworks for Manufacturing, Problem-Solving Tools and Methodologies, intro to process improvement methods, and a people management teamwork element. So we've had everyone from production level employees to HR in these classes, and supervisors. We've had a very wide array, and the feedback has, like I said, really been impressive. The Manufacturing Essentials is a 9-week class. The Developmental Series is a 7-week class. The classes meet 1 day a week for 4 hours, and the idea is we didn't want to take people off the floor of the manufacturers for multiple classes a week. This was the schedule that our employer partners said would work best for them. We asked that our employer partners commit to making their employees available during these times. You're not responsible for making sure your employee gets up and comes to class every week, but we ask you to make sure that they're available. You can't tell. We're asking you not to pull them off onto another project during these hours. So you're not responsible for getting them there, but you should make them available during those hours. If they miss a class during the Essential Series, that's not going to throw them off completely. We've had employees that come back during another cohort to make up a class they missed just because they want to learn the materials, not because it impacted the college credits they get or because of the only thing they can't miss any OSHA classes, safety classes, or they won't get the OSHA certificate. So those are the 2 trainings that are running right now, and then we're developing a 1-day executive lean training, which is going to roll out in September. It's more of for executive level managers and supervisors to give people an idea of the language that their employees are going to be using if they're going to these lean programs, or if they want to learn more about how to move to a lean journey in their shops. This is a good starting point. It also might be an alternative for people that can't afford in time to send their employees for a 10-week class. This is 1 day. The training is also going to be funded by Real Jobs. It is going to be implemented by Polaris. Nathan is going to be teaching it. And so we're enrolling for that, and then there will be a second 1-day workshop, which is going to be more about people management. So if you're moving along in the lean journey in your organization and you want your supervisors and managers to understand how to manage a lean workforce in a lean company, that one, which is still in development, is going to be, I think we're shooting for November. So that's a lot of information. This is all on the Polaris website. We have our own webpage on the Polaris website, which is very helpful. We've already run 2 cohorts. We're running another level 100 and level 200 cohort in September and November. So those are going to be starting up again. So if you're interested in sending employees, come talk to me. You don't have to commit or anything right away. I can answer any questions you have, and I can also put you in touch with someone that sent people through the trainings, or if you want to get a better idea, or talk to our evaluator, who also happens to be here. Lori is helping, URI is helping with our program evaluation, so she's seen the response from employer partners. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Are these exclusively daytime programs all day?
The Manufacturing Essential Series, the 9-week series, and the 7-week series meet once a week for 4 hours during the day, between 8 and 12. A couple of the classes have 2 of the classes, the safety classes, are 5.5 hours because you get your OSHA time card at the end, but they're not full day classes. Only the 1 day lean.
4 hours?
Once a week for 4 hours.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Where are they looking?
New England Tech, usually at the Post Road. Currently all our classes are being held at the Post Road campus at New England Tech, so it's 10 minutes from here, not even. The 1-day training will be hosted at Polaris. Occasionally we do meet at the New England Tech East Greenwich campus as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I can feel the excitement in the room. We started off right with pipeline building with the high school with Fallon. Margot talked about filling entry-level needs with unemployed people. Barbara talked about skilling up. How do we get those skills that are needed to fill your open positions? Lindsay's talked about skilling up your existing workforce. There's one more piece to kind of wrap out the whole thing. We're running just a couple minutes late. I'll ask you to bear with us to kind of complete the picture, and I have a very important message that hopefully resonates at the very end with all of you. So just bear with us for few more minutes. Jerry.
Good afternoon. Sold out room. It's been a while since I worked one of these. But my name is Jerry Marzilli. I'm with Torre Plastics. I am happy to represent the Leadership Training Partnership. We have just completed our third cohort, which is 2 separate units of both leadership training as well as mentor training to address both emerging leaders, that person you identify as he's going to be good, and I want to get him ready to be a leader. And then the mentor training for existing leaders who you want to make better leaders. And we use those combinations to address the needs that we all have. Because probably everyone in this room promotes people. And you promote them because they are good at what they are doing now. And we say, you're a leader. And we pat them on the back, and we cross our fingers, and we hope it goes well. Quite often it doesn't. And whose fault is that? It's our fault, because we did that. With this partnership, we learn through experience. We have great partners. Our original partners, Donna Malley is the mother of the Leadership Development Program. She always tries to hide and stay out of the way, but she is the one who does all the heavy lifting in this program. The rest of us kind of just follow along and do what she tells us to, and that's why it's been so successful. And Donna's going to kill me for doing that, but she's going on vacation, so that's okay. Our original partners included Takeo, and Michelle has been, a saving grace to our program. She was our editor. When Julie stuck us with all those things that had to go in the binder with the right tabs and the right pages, thank goodness Michelle was our editor for this. Matt Cook from Astronova. He and Donna originally were the worst enemies. They banged heads all the time as they were deciding on philosophies, and then we made it work. The last time we did a lunch and learn, we did one for ourselves, and our newest partner is Dominion Diagnostics, and we kind of went a little bit outside. They're in the manufacturing arena, but they are a testing agency. So we have proved that we can get leadership from lots of people. We've had more than a dozen different companies send us either mentors to train or emerging leaders besides just the partner companies. So it's a great program, and without URI, and I wrote this down because I wouldn't forget it, it is the URI Office of Strategic Initiatives, the Alan Shawn Feinstein College of Education and Professional Studies. Lauren, right? There you go. Between Lauren, that's a, 67 years old, you need all the help you can get. But the other key piece is Deb Matthews. Deb provides us with evaluation. And I think one of the unique things about our program, we've done 3 cohorts, and every one of them has been a little different because we listen to our students and we listen to our employers and find what works best for them, and we're not too proud to make the tweaks to make it work better for us. And before I forget, Byron Williford, one of our professors, is here today. Byron does the leadership training, and I mean, it is just out of this world. The guy has more energy than what you can imagine. We sent people to training who have been working for us for 12 hours, and they stay awake for 4 more hours in the training. So to have that kind of energy and the nature of it. The mentors, they go to the University of Gene Knott. Gene Knott is our mentor trainer. Trust me, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I went through the mentor training, and I'll tell you what, it changes how I mentor people at work every day. Every day. And it's a great tool. So, beyond that, let's roll a little tape, because this is a presentation we put together a year ago that sells our program.
To me, I believe being a mentor or a leader is someone who is caring, understanding, and willing to listen to the other person.
The leadership program here is very important for us in that it's a growing company, which means we're adding people, and of course we need to have leaders for those teams as we bring more and more people into the organization.
So it's important to develop the future leaders at our company. as we evolve and change, and as our current leaders retire, we need to get that next level of leader ready to take over those roles in the organization.
As we look at great leaders within Torrey, the future vision of this company is very important. So what we like to call it here is we like to call it think big, work small. And think big means have that vision of where you want to be and where you want the company to be in 5 or 10 years.
It was also good in the fact that it was able to give me some idea of what the leadership program was going to be about, and being able to be a better mentor to the mentees that we were going to be working with.
In the mentoring program enables people to acquire the necessary skills so that they will be successful.
And there are several important key factors that we learn as mentors that help us deal with helping someone grow in the areas where the growth is needed.
The mentor training will help me because it'll help me understand like who I am and how to encounter other people, kind of lead them while leading myself.
I think it's important because when you take on a new leadership role, you're automatically going to have a team of people that are dependent on you. And if you don't have much experience, you might be prone to make some mistakes. I think the leadership development can help you avoid some of those mistakes and get up to speed more quickly.
Without this program, they may not even think of themselves as leaders, and yet their supervisors see something in them, their manager sees something in them, and so this is a way to sort of bring that out and give them the confidence that they need.
It's important because we see a bit of a gap, and when I say we have studies within manufacturing and many other industries, we see a gap where somebody gets promoted from their position as being what we call worker and then transitioning into supervisor. So the first module of our whole training program here is transition from worker to supervisor. We go from being the expert in position that we have to do to supervising other people to do that work.
It's unique in that respect. A lot of training programs, it's like, okay, you're in the class, you leave, that's it. Then you get together again in a couple of weeks. But this just keeps it going, and I think that's where the learning is really going to sink in and become embedded in who they are.
That's probably the best line of it, embedded in who they are. We give them these skills that become life skills as their supervisor, throughout their career as a supervisor. The supervisory program has 3 elements to it that we basically, it's a classroom element. The classroom's a small piece of it. It also includes on-the-job work. They get a project that they have to develop that is involved in the job they're currently doing. And they get help from their mentor. They have a company sponsor that also supports them in this. And then they get that ability to have a professional mentoring network. Typically, their mentor does not come from their own company. We do that on purpose wherever that works for us because they can get a different view at how it's handled. We offer them an entire network of mentors that they can choose and select from. And we do a little match-up type exercises so they find someone they're comfortable with and they can continue to use them. Many of our mentors are still mentoring students that were in the first cohort. And it provides them with that support and that help that they can have throughout their careers. And again, the leadership program is 12 weeks. It's 3 hours a session. We go 2 weeks on and then take a week off to let them work on their projects and realize they have a job to do as well. And then we give them a little time off, and we're going to take a month for them to complete their project, and we bring them back and we graduate them. They all get CEUs, both in the mentoring and in the Emerging Leaders Supervisory Program from URI. And the most important thing is they get to interact with people from many different companies. We've had people from companies that have less than 10 employees all the way up to companies with hundreds of employees. We've had people that are very senior managers and supervisors to brand new ones. We've had people who get promoted while they're in the program, and then these skills become even more important to them. So again, because of the partners that are involved and the companies that we bring in, I think we have an awful lot to offer. We have another session that's going to be starting up soon, second week in September?
Last week in September.
Last week in September, October. So we've got some time, but we're looking for some folks to join us. And, you know, it's easy. I've got lots of help. Matt Cook's going to be around, Donna, Lori, Byron will entertain you, Michelle, to answer whatever questions you have. We'll stick around for a while, but we want some people to join us. All you do is pay for their time while they're with us, and we feel we have an awful lot to offer. Questions? Thanks for your technical assistance, Lori. Thank you.
So I appreciate everyone's patience and time. Two other quick things. This is by no means comprehensive in terms of all the training programs that are available to you. Fred Santinello, if you could raise your hand, Fred, is from New England Tech. New England Tech has fantastic programs up and down the skills spectrum. So make sure you talk to Fred before you leave in terms of making sure you understand what the program's going on in New England Tech. There are also programs being queued up at CCRI in terms of skilled for the manufacturing labor force and curriculum building as well. So, so make sure you talk to myself or Fred or Lindsay about some of these other programs. So again, by no means comprehensive, there's lots of programs here available. And the last thing that's probably most important, and this is what you've all been waiting for, the Real Jobs is supposed to be driven by employers. What it's supposed to do is create a program specifically to fill holes in your company. So if there's a training need that you have that don't fit into any of these programs, if there is, some of these programs are just not quite right, we are supposed to change the program to fit your needs. So for instance, we just recently got a group of 8 companies around the table that all have the same need, and we're now crafting up a program together for them at CCRI, specifically for them. So if the training needs that you have don't fit into these buckets, let us know. And our entire intention is to craft those programs to fill the needs. Scott Jensen, who's the director of DLT, and Julie continue to kind of beat that into our heads. So the program is intended to fill the open positions, not just train people. So if there's something doesn't fit right, let us know, and it's our job to craft something up that fits well. So I appreciate everybody coming. If there's any questions, please hit. All the partners here will hang out for a little while. Thanks again for coming, and hopefully we can engage a little bit deeper down the road. Thanks, everyone.